Ooh, as if by magic, the slide appears. Apologies, I'm the last one before the Q&A panel. Just a bit background. Commercial is a small to medium-sized enterprise. We consist of a number of divisions which do different things. Fundamentally, commercial provides the stuff that makes the office work. So we have an office supplies division which provides the pens, the paper, all the kind of stuff that you had in your pack. We have an IT services division which fundamentally does data centers and the IT equipment that runs the operations that then enable business to take place. We have an interiors division which fundamentally, well, it started off just doing simple chairs and things like that, but now does the whole office fit out. And finally, we've got print, which provide all the junk mail that you'll get through the post and all the freebies that you used to get in conferences. Do you remember those days when you used to go to a conference and you used to get all these squeegee balls? Yeah, that was our guys. Commercial itself, we've been around for 21 years. Last year, we saw dramatic growth way ahead of market. On this graph, blue shows the different markets that we operate in, and yellow shows us. They're working from left to right. That's the stationary market, so that's office supplies. Interiors market, IT data centers, and IT, the old MFD photocopier sales. This is against the majority of the companies in those sectors. Yes, there is some small growth in IT, but we're outmatching it. How has that happened? From the director's perspective, they say it's through innovation and secondly, sustainability. From the perspective of commercial, the reason why we're doing well is because of our sustainability position. What does that mean? Why do it? Apologies for this slide, it's been covered by everybody else, but fundamentally legislative drivers are not enough to drive true sustainability. Intelligent investors, intelligent procurers are now seeing through the greenwash, the eco-bling. They want to see the evidence which sits behind there. It is no longer adequate to just put something up and hope somebody doesn't notice what's happening behind. The public, the staff, as Thomas was saying, the people you're recruiting, they're asking serious questions about sustainability, and we're seeing it as one of the most important parts for getting new staff coming on board. Where do you sit on the sustainability agenda? A business case is so much more than just a financial one now. It's all to do with brand positioning. It's to do with staff contentment. It's to do with the way that we do business these days. I'm seeing increasingly people not talking about ROI when it comes to environmental or sustainable investment. They're now talking about a much bigger picture. And I would argue sustainability is the key area at the moment for business to show leadership, which is why we're all here today. So Commercial was founded in 1991, but we weren't sustainable. We were a nice company to work for. We did really great things, but we had no idea of the impacts that we could have on the bigger world. And the big change happened in 2006 when one of our directors was Al Gore. If you remember Al Gore doing his Inconvenient Truth thing, one of our directors was invited by James Murdoch, who at the time was in charge of Sky, who's one of our top 10 customers, to see Al Gore at the Tate Modern. She came back completely blown away by the whole climate change agenda, but from a number of different perspectives, not least the fact there was a serious moral issue to be addressed, but also that in that room there were the business leaders who were going to be seeing transformation. We wanted to make sure that we were in that leadership pack, not a laggard, as was mentioned before. So at that time, we engaged in fundamentally three areas: a carbon reduction engagement, a resource efficiency, and a community charity connection. But we wanted to make it more than just a bit of stuff on the side. We wanted to make it fundamental to the way we did business, and more importantly, a way that we could then take that message outside. And the commitment was to become ambassadors to the solutions of climate change. Where are we now? We've done a lot of activity. I'm not going to go through that. A lot has happened in the last 4 or 5 years to take us to a place where, to be honest, we didn't know we were going to be when we started. Nobody had any concept at the beginning of the opportunities that would come out of starting on a sustainability agenda, and I completely agree with one of the previous speakers who said you need to start. The jigsaw puzzle model was perfect. The first piece is the hardest one, but after that first piece it really starts to bowl. A few pictures. I'm just going to, the initiatives we've done have been extensive, but none of them have been something which nobody else could do. All of the things we've done, we invested in. For example, we were very fortunate. We were part of the electric vehicle trials, which Nissan and Daimler have run. We've experimented with electric cars. Hey, anybody can do that. We just picked up the phone and asked. People like working with us because we pick up the phone and ask. Our suppliers come to us and say, we've got this potential product we would like to take to market. Can you talk to us about what the opportunities are? We like those conversations. We like it when customers come to us and say, we're having issues in a particular area. Can you help engage with us? We like that because it enables us to learn from them and to give that kind of feedback, which makes we're all growing. An example, that orange vehicle is Axon's plug-in hybrid, which is a UK manufacturer developing lightweight cars. We've been working with them on different projects and just love the way that they are prepared to engage in the big story of how can we make vehicles which are they're based near Silverstone, so they use a lot of racing car technologies, so it's quite nifty. How can we make a nifty, a practical vehicle which works in a delivery fleet? How can that be lightweighting so it easily does over 100 miles to the gallon? And we have also been very fortunate. We've held events. We hold a corporate responsibility day at the Cheltenham Racecourse, which we invite about 200 key customers to come and see and learn from each other. And that's been very, very powerful. Jonathan Porritt spoke at one of them. There's Jonathan speaking. Sustainability for us is more than just environment. I'm just going to briefly mention we have 10 commitments. Just going to speed on if I can. Will it speed on? No? Will it speed on? No, it won't. The 10 commitments we hold to are a wider sustainability agenda, come on, which are not getting visible, which are here. But fundamentally, the first one and the most important one, if it will show, is that there is a positive message to the whole environmental agenda. The world has moved on from environment meaning don't put that in the bin. There's now a significant amount of positivity about environment. People like it. People want to do it. It's releasing that unleashed energy in the employment, in your employees, which enables environmental things to happen. It's unleashing the potential of working with suppliers on innovation. That's where, for me, sustainability now sits. I'm going to show you a short clip, a film.
This is just to really reward some people who have got very involved. An excellent example of this is what Michelle has done. Not only has she dramatically reduced her gas and electricity use, but she's also inspired her neighbours and local community to do the same. The best newcomer angel this year's rising star is Nikki. So well done, Nikki.
Staff engagement started off as a really, really key and important part of what we did. We decided that we wanted to balance between the technologies and the techniques and the innovation we were driving through that way with a strong involvement and engagement with staff, so that at no point did staff feel disengaged from what was going on, but at the same time it wasn't the onus on them to do all the activity. So the balance was very, very important.
Almost everyone from the drivers to the directors was involved in this big company awareness environmental day called What a Load of Rubbish, and it was just a really fun day with everyone getting involved in silly races and dressing up, but it did have the underlying strong message about improving the recycling facilities, and there were new bins and signage and policies to go along with it, and improving the awareness of people.
When we launched the whole programme, we started off with a staff launch. We started off with staff engagement through the various different groups and listened very, very attentively and carefully to what they were saying before we developed the programmes.
Commandments to the Green Angels, and the last team will have looked at 10 commandments and picked up maybe stuff about...
Green Angels programme has been particularly exciting because we've had individuals from different parts of the business who otherwise wouldn't necessarily work together, creating a new thing, not just a special day or a special communication, but a business transformation, and then rolling that out to everybody. So we saw people who previously would not have been comfortable necessarily presenting at a board meeting, standing in front of the board and arguing the case for something which would transform the business into the future. How does staff impact their home life? by changing their culture, changing the way they do things. I would say probably within the organisation, over half of them have made transformational changes in the way they do things at home, based on the experience and expertise they've gained by being involved in the Green Angels or by involved in the various different programmes we've had.
I'm filling up my private car with biodiesel. It's one of the, I guess, perks of working here. We have our own tank, and if you have the right sort of diesel engine car, you can fill up with biodiesel. The tank mixes the normal diesel with basically chip fat. Comes off my pay slip at the end of each month, so I don't even have to worry about kind of paying for it. You get different blends capable with different cars. I'm running at 70% at the moment. You know, the best form of recycling is reuse.
I've been with Commercial since October of last year, and since then I have personally utilised or recycled some of the materials they have here. The materials I've used include building the compost heap from recycled pallets. I use the empty plastic bottles to help my vegetable patch along, and of course the mountain of tea bags, or used tea bags, always available for anybody with a compost heap, which is very useful indeed. One extra person, recycling can make a lot of difference. We can't just leave it to everybody else, we all need to contribute.
One of the most important things, I think, is that our impacts don't stop at the door when you leave the office. So yes, we impact our customers, yes, we impact our suppliers, and yes, we impact the people we work around, but also when you leave to go home, you impact your home life. Green Ambassadors impact home life, and impact in the community was a critical part of the way that programme developed. I think in Commercial we've got the evidence that any company of any size can transform themselves to become more sustainable. So just some headline numbers for the programme, what we've achieved. We've reduced our carbon intensity by 75% over the last 3 or 4 years. Our operational electricity reduction is about 35%. Our supplier engagement programme, we've now engaged with over 90% of spend on suppliers, driving them down the environmental route and the ethical route. We're now foundation members of the Ethical Trading Initiative, which is pushing out onto the human rights agenda as well. Our employee engagement, I was very chuffed. In our last staff survey, 92% of the staff said they were actually talking to their friends and neighbours about what we were doing and trying to inspire them to do things in their own companies or in their own home life or in their schools or wherever they operate. And at the same time, we've seen revenue growth of 41%. So the company is sustainable in an economic sense as well as an environmental and social. What does that look? That's just a carbon graph. You've seen them many times before. That's how our emissions looked year on year, just for the people who are more inclined to look at pictures of graphs. So what made the programme work? Briefly, we had buy-in from the top. It was a commitment to do things from the very, very beginning. We had resource allocated, and we used a lot of innovation. We set challenging targets. We use a lot of good communication using case studies and video clips. And whenever we win awards, we make sure people feel the recognition falls on them, not on the people at the very, very top. It's fun. That's probably the most important thing. The actual programme is an enjoyable programme to get involved in, and it's fun for the customer. It's fun for the staff member. It's fun for the suppliers. So what has it done for us? It's breathed life into the organisation. It has transformed the way we do things and the way we operate and the way we work together. We had no problem now recruiting new people, and it's because people like to be part of the company. Once they're in there, there's a healthy environment. People ask questions, people challenge each other, people respect each other. There's no longer the fact that salespeople are annoyed at credit control because they can see the value of what everybody contributes. And it also helps us when we're doing business, because we're now working with businesses which share that ethos, who see long-term value, who see the value of long-term relationships. And we'd much rather work with somebody for a long term rather than working with somebody who is only interested in a 3 or 6 month engagement. And it was incredibly good for cost savings. We've saved over £250,000 so far on this programme, which for a business of our size is really nice to hear. What we're going to do next, we've got some interesting projects we're doing. If anybody wants to engage in projects to do with ethical investment within the hydrogen economy, within staff engagement, please give me have a conversation with me, because we're going to be doing some interesting things in that area. And we're also engaging with new ways of working with GRI and Past 2060 and various other things like that. So please do talk to me if you have any interest in those areas. I'd be very interested to have conversations with other companies leading the way. Thank you very much.